Yes, it's a dark day. Peace to the gods, especially the one right behind me. You see his face right there, his eyes, his nose, snout. That's it. Gods is a combination of everything. You know, like I always tell you, it's nothing that came first that still ain't here. It's just buried deep inside of us, the shadows. Shadows upon shadows, which leads to densities. But this one we're going to discuss in reference to a song I put out there called Kill Yourself. I'm not no rapper or nothing. I don't rap. I never try. I produce all my life, though. For I was down with bad boys and all that. But, I saw a lot. It teaches you a lot. You get to realize this world isn't what we believe. Like the preachers teach you and how your parents portray. As kids growing up, we believe that stuff. Santa Claus coming down the chimney, we believe all that stuff. And as we mature, we get to have to kill ourselves more and more over and over again with the lies that people perpetrate on us and tell us. And then when we find out the truth, it's like your belief system falls from underneath you. That's the whole meaning of killing yourself. It's just to reconfigure yourself to meet truth. We all need that in our life because when you put it in that term of how I'm putting it in, you're talking about yoga. And yoga, the process that you go through, if you ever go to any yoga school, is to actually release something inside of you that's very deep inside, which is Kundalini, your higher self. You get rid of your lower self. So when you're talking about killing yourself, it's in reference to getting rid of your lower self, your pleasures, your desires, your externalization of your reality, your attachments to things. These is what cause your day-to-day karma, your day-to-day problems. So by you going inside, going within, you get to understand the whole meaning of everything that life is trying to offer you without equating it to a definition out of a book, out of words. You know, the English language got 26 letters. I'm pretty sure the Arabic language got more, and the Sanskrit letters got more. And right about now, there's still books in Sanskrit that cannot be translated into English because English don't have no words to define it. Let me break this down to you. When they decided to create the English language, the New World, America, it was after trial and error of them failing at creating a civilized nation. So they had to dumb everything down. Anything aside from those 26 letters that we call our American alphabet will get you to God. You can't describe the astral world because there's no words in the English language purposely to make you be able to describe such things. The closest you'll be able to do it is a Hebrew language or Chaldean language. But you see, those languages incorporated way more letters. The less letters you have in your alphabet, the less you could express yourself. You're stuck in a form of your own body first, and then a language or culture that contain you more from being a full you. When you're talking about dissolution, killing yourself, it's about regenerating, knowing all of this through intellect, through research and studying, to understand it and not just follow the lambs, follow what everybody else do until you hit a wall and you realize everything you're saying isn't real. So let's look at it more in detail. One of the first things I said is that, everybody is afraid to die and they'd rather go to work instead. And I'll give you a great example. Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I think he's even on YouTube. You could Google him. And it tells you the working man is a sucker. You're a fool. And he's a Chinese man who had two fathers. A poor Chinese father and a rich Chinese father. The poor Chinese father went to college, went to school, and did everything. The rich one never went to school, never did anything. So he breaks down the story of how one sells out for immediate cash because his desires or pleasures or what he called liabilities. You build up too many things, assets, liabilities. Assets is what pays for your liabilities. So you build up too many liabilities, you can't pay for it, so you have to run and use yourself as an asset before you develop your skills. It's like that song that Jay-Z and Little Bleak when he says, here's a G, come chill with me. And he's like, nah, I'll chill with you for free. I want the long-term riches. So you got to understand that if you take time now to observe your environment, observe reality, you learn what's missing. That's an entrepreneur. It's only a matter of getting a loan. Same thing you do when you go get a house to get your business going of what your mind created. But first you have to take the time through suffering and the discipline to learn not to just follow, to pave your own path. So that's why I said everybody run out and go get a job instead, and nobody's out on the streets, meaning they don't have no more experience. Just people lacking experience. We just like to want to know the path already and walk that path. We don't want to be scared. We don't want to be shook. We don't want to go through adversities that's going to teach us anything. We just want to go through it la-di-da-di, happy. It's already paved. The driver's driving. We just do it. So this is to take away that. For us to evolve, you have to be better than me. For me to be even better than myself, you had to be better than me, then I compete with you, and I be better than you, come back compete. That's evolution. We going up the ladder like this together. But if we all settling and just coming home from work doing nothing, what evolving are you doing personally? And are you just training your kids to do the same thing you was do, to be a servant? We got to realize that's not our goal. I wouldn't be here making this up if it didn't have some type of legitimacy to it. Think about it. So on that note now, when you're talking about kill yourself, it's only the mundane. I made this song purposely to be like a parable, to twist the line between a personal change and it look like some old person who don't care. Before I go further, let me explain what this Satan is. A Satan is made up by the Essenes. The Essenes is the Egyptians, the Coptic Egyptians. How that work is, a Satan is a clone of the king. During the time of war, the king is supposed to be on the front line or do his personal security watching the whole battle. But usually he's replaced by a Satan for genealogical purposes. You understand? Because he carries the king bloodline. So even if they was to say he's captured or he's dead, he really didn't die. He's somewhere secretly put away, like all the great leaders of the past. And the Satan got caught, his replica, his clone. He sits there with the mask on or whatever and pretend to be the king. So that's where the term Satan come from. But in the Essenes, the Satan is also now God's replacement. You understand what I'm saying? So in their hierarchy of angelic system, they made up the whole angelic system that the Hebrews perpetrate today. It's really an Essene system. A great book you can learn on all of this, the different angels and the whole angelic system is laid out in a book by Barbara Thurman. I think the name of the book is Jesus the Man. It's a book about, believe it or not, the Essenes. It teaches you that he was an Essene. But we're not going in if he's a mythological person or a real person. That's not my forte, you know what I'm saying? I'm just telling you where this whole thing come from with the Essenes and with everything that I'm telling you. So it was them who started all of that, right? And then once everybody got a hang of it, everybody started accepting it, and it became part of the normal doctrine of everybody else. All right. So now, where was I at? Hold on one second. Yes. Now, Barbara Thurman, but she goes into a big story. She put her story together from the Dead Sea Scrolls. If you're into the Dead Sea Scrolls and follow the Dead Sea Scrolls but don't understand them, that give you a general overlook, because she doesn't just tell you the story. She go into the culture, the Jewish culture, the Essene culture, and break down every detail of how they live, their ascetic lives. You know, like when a woman is having her period, she can't be in the inner circle. The inner court and outer court is the way they live. That's how Qumran was set up, just like Judea bid it. But also, if you go, I'll go into details later, in ancient history books, the Africans always had an inner court and an outer court. Their blocks was divided like into rock circles. They made rock circles where the cows could come into the outer court, and then they had an inner court where the family lived in the chiefs and all that. The people who was peasant lived in the outer court and didn't have any cows, and the ones who had the cows and all that was in the inner court. So when we see that in biblical terms, that's how everybody lived back in them days. So I want you to understand everything that I'm trying to tell you on the whole is actually there. So when I'm telling you Satan now is actually the person who's going to be the representative of God, you got to look at the story in Job. The story of Job now tell you that he was chilling with the devil or Satan or whatever and his sons, which is the gods. And they talked about Job, like, what's up with him? Test him. And that's what he do. He goes and tests you. He tests your faith. He's not against you. He's not here to turn the world and tempt the world. That's bullshit. All this that we're talking about is in your chakra system. You have to pass certain tests in there. That's why the whole story of Job is that he loses everything to gain everything. That's kill yourself. That's how you die and you rebirth. If you attach yourself to something, you cannot change and evolve. You have to let go and then come back and reattach yourself to something else, because it's your evolutionary change. And that's why they said that you can't put old wine in new wineskins. It's a fact. So you had to get rid of the old wine. This is alchemy, I'm telling you, which is Kundalini. But don't get it twisted in the song. Like I said, I wrote it for a friend. It's not for me. I'm not a rapper, and I don't have a rap career ahead of me. But the words is real. It's a real point to it. You understand? So I just wanted to add on to it so that y'all can understand the concept now. You know, as it goes on, I break it down into different segments of ourselves, that it's really us that is the problem. That's when I bring up, you know, the poor me and the star me and all the different aspects of ourselves that give us these egotistical superhero. We want to be the hero and go out and save the family and save the world. And so we strive for good, strive for better, and we believe these things. But you don't realize you're not alone. And there's forces here. So either you're going to turn, like it turns out like this, the humans is going to be against God and the gods, or they're going to unite back and realize that there never was alone. And so if you don't unite, you're going to think everything I'm saying is negative and that I'm wrong. But I'm just saying this, it's time to change your perception and see reality for more than just yourself. And you're part of a system, synchronicity with higher beings, other yous. All of this is occurring at this moment now. And if you're not part of what's going on, we are lost in the Western world. We believe in superheroes and what they show us on TV. We've got a whole Wizard of Oz setup. We don't have nothing to do with nature, reality. Our food is not of nature, and we believe that stuff. When you leave that, this is where you come into nature, God. There is no actual place, only where white people is at, that they take away nature and build up their own walls and buildings and everything that goes against nature, because you know that's their whole system of living. They cannot take the sun, they cannot take nature, they can't take rain, they can't take nothing. You understand? But that don't it don't go for everybody. There's actually us who's Kundalini babies that have a different way of living. So I'm bringing it to you to let you know how you're supposed to live as a Kundalini baby. If you have weird experiences, if you have a lot of intuition going with you, if you have psychic abilities, if you can feel energies, if you got to heal, if you're a shaman, any of these things, this is the guide stone for you. But I don't want you to get it wrong. But at the same time, I don't want you to be happy to go lucky about what you're doing, because later on I'm coming with the laws and the rules. Once you know the laws and the rules, and you living by them, I could work with you, send you energy. You can understand my books and they'll work for you. But if you live in a foul life and you just socializing, you will see that it's not going to work. It's a subtle energy that require you to be in a hermetic aesthetic way, which is just our ancient ways of living. It ain't nothing. How you doing? It's not nothing new. It's not something that we all is exclusively to now and it's a new age movement. No, this is an old age movement, the return of the ancient ones. And because it's a lot of us being put on drugs, medication, thinking we're crazy. So we have to learn this new us. And by us sticking under the American custom of it or keeping our attention upon the TV and the things of that nature, we're gonna lose it. We're not gonna be able to pick it up. It's a thing where I don't care what country you're in. You could be in Africa. You have to take time out to get to know your thoughts, your mind. Is it good? Is it bad? The good and the bad. There is no good and bad. Flip it all around. Get everything into its proper perspective. It's like for you to know the truth, you have to hear both sides of the story. You can't hear one person and say it's true. So I offer to you both sides. I give you the good and the bad, the positive and the negative. Sometimes I contradict what I'm saying because both sides will make you be able to make the right choice. It's not going to say, oh, this he's right here, but this is wrong here. No, it's not for that. You hear both sides. So you have the wisdom of Solomon to know both things. If you only know one thing, then the other one is going to seem bad to you or you don't know it. It's like you can hear the story of somebody who committed a crime, but then when you go walk in their shoes and then you understand why they committed the crime. So it's a deep story. It's very deep. And it goes more into now us hoarding. A lot of us live in houses that we have so much instruments, so many gadgets, so many furniture, so many clothes, that it is a sin. It's wrong. And it's your neighbor out there who don't even have rice and don't have no food for the day. And we don't see it. And then it will run around and do extra shit to put pressure on people to facilitate the loans and the credit that we take out for all these extra things and make these payments. And so we don't know the hurt that we're putting on to other people, and sometimes just give them 50 cents to a quarter on their hard labor and energy while other people's got millions already or thousands put up and still using them and don't realize that they're human too and they needs. And so you got to realize this whole ecosystem is all thrown off, and until we put it together, everybody's going to be part of a system that one person is in synchronicity and changes and make everything else changes. So you can't go around seeing fucked up things and don't say something or do anything about it. And so this is the start. Kundalini, kill yourself. That's what it's about. University of Conscious Science. One love.